Edgar Wallace, The Clue of the Twisted Candle, narrated by David McCran. Chapter 1. The 4:15 from Victoria to Lewes had been held up at Three Bridges in consequence of a derailment, and, though John Lexman was fortunate enough to catch a belated connection to Beston Tracy, the wagonette, which was the sole communication between the village and the outside world, had gone. "If you can wait half an hour, Mr. Lexman," said the station master, "I will telephone up to the village and get Briggs to come down for you." John Lexman looked out upon the dripping landscape and shrugged his shoulders. "I'll walk," he said shortly, and, leaving his bag in the station master's care and buttoning his mackintosh to his chin, he stepped forth resolutely into the rain to negotiate the 2 miles which separated the tiny railway station from Little Tracy. The downpour was incessant and likely to last through the night. The high hedges on either side of the narrow road were so many leafy cascades. The road itself was in places ankle-deep in mud. He stopped under the protecting cover of a big tree to fill and light his pipe, and, with the bowl turned downwards, continued his walk. But for the driving rain, which searched every crevice and found every chink in his waterproof armour, he preferred, indeed welcomed, the walk. The road from Beston Tracy to Little Beston was associated in his mind with some of the finest situations in his novels. It was on this road that he had conceived the Tilbury Mystery. Between the station and the house he had woven the plot which had made Gregory Standish the most popular detective story of the year. For John Lexman was a maker of cunning plots. If, in the literary world, he was regarded by superior persons as a writer of shockers, he had a large and increasing public who were fascinated by the wholesome and thrilling stories he wrote, and who held on breathlessly to the skein of mystery until they came to the denouement he had planned. But no thought of books, or plots, or stories filled his troubled mind as he strode along the deserted road to Little Beston. He had had 2 interviews in London, one of which under ordinary circumstances would have filled him with joy. He had seen T.X., and T.X. was T.X. Meredith, who would one day be the chief of the Criminal Investigation Department, and was now an assistant commissioner of police, engaged in the more delicate work of that department. In his erratic, tempestuous way, T.X. had suggested the greatest idea for a plot that any author could desire. But it was not of T.X. that John Lexman thought as he breasted the hill, on the slope of which was the tiny habitation known by the somewhat magnificent title of Beston Priory.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?